Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
These words from a great president, Ronald Reagan. No arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is as formidable as the will and the moral courage of free men and women. How true. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Tuesday, cold outside. And a good morning to you and your family. I'm Zeb Bell at the desk of Zeb at the Ranch. And good morning with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations telling you to get ready for wintertime driving. All 7 locations serving you. Along with some of our great advertisers, Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route, service 734-6969. Right now, Merry Christmas, everybody. And let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Boy, do I have some stories for you to get the hair on the back of your neck raised this morning, so stay tuned, buddy.
All righty.
All right, thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. Time for the weather, brought to you by K&R Rental. Really, really good, folks. They get there early in the morning, no matter if it's 80 degrees outside or if it's like 23 right now. Roger and the crew at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway, 678-3122. That number again, 678-3122. They've got the rental on the best tools and equipment in the industry, so by golly, get over there. If you're finishing a project, you need their help. They've got the knowledge, the expertise to make sure you get what you need. K&R Rental over in Hayburn. Right now, here's the weather.
If you were asking for some sunshine, well, you definitely have it for this week. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like sunny skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the west, 5 to 8 miles an hour. High of 35 is what we're looking at. Tonight, mostly clear with a low right near 15. For tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 35, overnight low of 15 for tomorrow night. Thursday, sunny and 38, pretty much the same for Friday, sunny with a high of 38. And for Saturday, sunny near 40. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I love it. Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. Don't forget, they get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. to serve you at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Call them if you have questions about all the tools, all the equipment available for your rental at 678-3122. K&R Rental serving you. Hey, don't forget on Thursday, ripping good livestock sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. Merv May, Kay Draghi, and Lance Udy. The sale that works for you, starting time at 10 a.m. And then listen also on Monday, December 11th, great big stock cow sale. Don't forget that at high noon. So a couple of big sales coming up. Oh, my goodness. Oh, and let's not forget our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. I mean, they can clean anything. I know you went for Thanksgiving and you spilled gravy all over your necktie, and you've got cranberry sauce, maybe on your favorite dress, ladies. Oh, my goodness, take them in to Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. They can get them clean. They can fix them up. You better believe it. And we've been taking our clothes in there for a long time at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. The best. Kevin and Cindy, the whole crew at Daryl's Cleaners in Burley. You stop in and see them today. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. And I think we're going to have a little drum roll in the background. We're economically minded here. We couldn't hire a drummer. The most despicable Parent of the Year for 2017, LaVar Ball of California. Did you hear what this guy has done now? He has decided he is going to pull his son out of UCLA. One of his boys goes to UCLA right now. The one that was the shoplifter in China. He's going to pull his son out of UCLA. And he's going to find another university for him to go play basketball at so he doesn't have to serve a suspension. UCLA came down on those three kids and said, no, you're going to come home. You're going to be suspended because this is your punishment for going to a foreign country and shoplifting. Well, LaVar Ball overlooks it and he says, no, I'll just pull him out of UCLA and have him go to another college or university. What kind of a parent is this? When he said that his son's bad judgment ain't that big a deal. That's what I'm quoting. His words, not mine. Ain't that big a deal. This is absolutely despicable. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I had something prepared to tell you.
Oh.
Okay. On December 18th, there's going to be a big change in the trucking industry. And I don't think most people know about it because they don't think it affects them.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to be paying more for groceries. Anything that goes on a truck, the price is going to go way up because they're going to an electronic logbook that only is that's a telltale thing, and every truck's going to have them in it, and these truck drivers are going to be limited to certain hours, and at that rate, most of the truckers cannot make a living.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're going to go do something else. The trucking industry is going crazy right now because they're going to have to raise their rates to pay the drivers.
You know, you bring up a really good point this morning, Keith, about the trucking industry, and I hope Deanne's listening out in the other room. We have a lot of trucking industry folks that advertise on this show, and I'm going to have her call one of the representatives and come on and talk about this. I'd heard rumors about this going into effect on the 18th, and I really appreciate the fact that you brought this up. Rather than elongate the conversation this morning, I'm going to get somebody from the industry on my program, and we'll talk about these incurred charges.
I tell you, someone that would be excellent on there would be Clay Handy from Handy Truck Line.
You know, and I agree. I'll try to get a hold of Clay, or Deanne will, and we'll have him come out. He's been in my, what he called one time, museum before. He was here one day, and he looked around all the pictures on the wall and everything, and he said, man, this isn't an office. This is a museum. I got to run, Keith. I got to run.
Yeah,
Thank you.
He has been president of the Idaho Trucks Association, and he's very knowledgeable about it. And if you want to get scared, let's hear from him.
I'll call him or have Deanne call him, and we'll get him scheduled for next week.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Keith.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Don't forget all your heating and cooling and electrical needs. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They open the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday. And don't forget, with these colder mornings, 23 this morning right now, you kind of throw back the covers, jump out on the floor, and go, boo! Man, it's chilly in here. Well, make sure your furnace is doing the job to keep you nice and toasty and warm. You stop in and get your furnace filters or all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs right there with the best. The pros, Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Hey, by the by, you know what's coming up next week on Thursday? Next week on Thursday on the 14th, it's the Denny's annual Christmas party, and we're going to be over there broadcasting live and direct from 8 to 11. Door prizes, Santa Claus, register for a recliner. What? Yes. Our good friend Jeff over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More has put up a beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner, and we're having drawing for that recliner. All you have to do is go into Denny's restaurant for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, take your receipt up to the cash register, sign your name and your telephone number, and you might be the lucky winner. Holy man, the drawing's going to be on December 14th. We're even going to have choirs there singing and all. It's just going to be a great Christmas party at Denny's restaurant. You can stop in anytime, all the time for great food at 611 North Overland in Burley and also at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's restaurant serving you. Really, really good people. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about a father or a mother or a tandem of the mother and dad basically saying we're going to put sports and we're going to put everything into the basket of you can do no wrong, son. And you go over to China and you try to shoplift. The president even helped get you off. It could have been really, really a mess. Maybe 10 years of hard labor over in China. President Trump gets him off. This knot-headed LaVar Ball doesn't even have the common decency that God gave a billy goat to thank the president. The kid did, but not LaVar Ball. And then going to UCLA and telling him, we're going to pull my kid out of your school because you suspended him for his illegal actions, but I don't care about that. I just want him to play basketball. This is absolutely repugnant. And they own a company called Big Baller. It's a shoe company and everything else. I wish them, going into 2018, the Grinch. That's all I'm going to say. I wish them the Grinch. Don't forget Pomerelle Place. What a nice place for senior living. And it offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably and be able to mix with your friends and just have fun in the dining room. And, I mean, it's just a really, really nice place. You don't want to live alone. You don't want to be subjected to the safety hazards and injuries of living alone. Come on, call them. This is a nice place. 677-8212 at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Pomerelle Place, a place for senior living. You call them today, 677-8212. Really, really nice people. A moment ago, I mentioned the stock cow sale, and then I've got another story that is absolutely unbelievable. And we're going to talk about UC Berkeley and these kids. I don't know if you saw this last night on television, but I just sat back in my chair and I told Deanne I have never in my life saw anything or seen anything that despicable from the younger generation. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. Don't forget the big stock cow sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. We told you about it a few minutes ago. It's going to be on Monday, December 11th, starting at high noon, 12 noon. Early consignments, get them called right now. They've got well over 200 young cows coming in, 150 middle-aged cows, cows of all ages. Big stock cow sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Merv May, Cade, Rogge, Lance, Judy taking consignments. You put that on your calendar for Monday, December 11th at high noon. I could not believe this last night. Watching television, the news, and a filmmaker and he's done these kind of, going to college campuses and exposing the thoughts or the non-thoughts of our younger generation before. Well, he went to the UC Berkeley, which I have always known, and I'm sure you did too, is a very liberal campus. And he stands in the middle of the campus commons, waving an American flag and extolling the virtues of living here in the greatest country of them all, the United States of America. And you know what happened? Most all of these students walked by and said terrible things that I can't even give a remark to this morning, because I think you'll get the drift, and they were totally obscene against this country and against us as Americans. I was shocked at the language and the attitude of these students. But a few hours later, after waving the American flag on the campus commons, this filmmaker went to get an ISIS flag, an ISIS terrorist flag. And he went back to the campus commons, and I was absolutely taken aback when most of the comments and the attitudes of the students was, yeah, man, go, you betcha, we support you. In America. What kind of students are these? Well, let me give my opinion. They're wet-nosed snots that have no idea as to the caliber and the class and the sacrifices that we have given for them to attend UC Berkeley. What kind of teachers, professors are in that school that would have this kind of a thought permeated with these younger kids? These are 18 to 22, 23-year-old kids. They're not kids anymore. They're young adults. And they're going to be the next generation in this country to lead this country. Complete disrespect for America. I just absolutely, it made me so mad last night. Our nice big TV was in definite jeopardy of not making it through the Christmas season. I was mad. The land of opportunity, the greatest country in the world, America, and these belligerent young know-nothing punks condemning, swearing, and using all kinds of disrespect against our flag and our country. What are your thoughts? You need to chime in on this, because you know what? 10, 15, 20 years, they're going to be in control. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yes, I'm going to concede the fact that I wished I'd had a baseball bat and I could have batter up Hilrick Bradsby or Louisville Slugger, whichever. This absolutely sickened me. I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Dino's Septic Service. Oh, it was kind of humorous, because yesterday after the program, the old cell phone rang, and a guy called me up, and he says, I heard you do that ad for Dino's Septic Service. And he said, I use them, and they are the greatest people in the world. I said, I know that. I've used them, too. Fast, fair-friendly service, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, and backhoe service, septic tanks and drain fields installed, septic tanks pumped. They're doing the job you don't want to do. I don't either. But I'll tell you what, they pull in your yard, and they really provide a service to you and your family. That big truck called Smells Cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service in Rupert, 436-6526. In Burley, 678-1638. You call them today. Really, really good people. Stand by, caller. I'm not trying to put you off. I just got to pay some bill here real quick. I'm going to tell everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, as I almost choked to death. 678-1191, the number to call to help you get back to being you. Make an appointment, and the physical therapists there are absolutely the best. honest, not brag, a fact. I know they've helped me. And they've also got that hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind around. Oh, it's good. Oh, they're good at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Burley. Call for an appointment today to help you get back to being you, 678-1191. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Yeah, it's Earl.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With what you were just talking about UC Berkeley,
Right.
is with all these student loans where money's handed out to kids that they're living off of, and then possibly they don't have to pay them loans back. It's turning these college campuses into refugee camps. If this is what's going on.
Well, these are little communists that are running around, little communists and socialists that absolutely have been brainwashed into thinking the country that's feeding them, clothing them, and giving them a safe haven is the worst country in the world. And I would like to have 5 minutes in a room with a couple of these professors and give them a personality change for what they're doing to warp the minds of the young people of our country.
So, I mean, if these kids want to... I know where we came from. We had 2 or 3 jobs in order to maybe get an education and to better ourselves. And they're missing this step in life as to being aware of the values that this country's built for them.
Right.
That's all I can say.
No, Earl, how are we going to, let me ask you a quick a question, short answer. How are we going to restore the values that you and I and others grew up with respect and pride in the American ideals?
Bring our labor forces back into this country and produce for ourselves. So we have respect and I can't think of the word I want to use, is value what we build here.
Right.
For ourselves.
I agree.
Where everything is so imported anymore, and maybe I'm wrong, but there's so much import coming into this country that we were, and I've said this before on your program, is we're losing that value for that self-made substance, whatever it is.
I agree. You know, Earl, I talked to you the other day on the phone. If you get a chance, call me after the program sometime. Always enjoy hearing from you. God bless you up on the mountain this morning. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Zeb.
You bet, buddy. Thank you. Nice man up there. Hey, Merry Christmas wishes from Vicky's Country Garden. Hello, Miss Vicky. This is a nice lady, and she's got a great idea for your Christmas gifts. Gift certificates from Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Call her on her cell phone. Set it up at 431-5667. Vicky's Country Garden. And a big thank you from Streamline Precision and a Merry Christmas. Streamline Precision with Tim and the crew. They'd like to have you go up to a person in uniform, shake their hand, and say thank you. Men and women that put their lives on the line every day so that we can live in the best place in the world, America. Thank you, Tim and the crew at Streamline Precision in Burley. And Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Don't forget, they thank all the farmers for doing a great job and producing all the food for us to eat. And Jeff and the crew wish you a very Merry Christmas from Magic Valley Irrigation. Number to call, 678-3101. Really good folks. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. You know, what this younger generation doesn't understand is that the enemies, people from enemy countries, are pouring into our countries. They're getting free medical. They are overpopulating. And somewhere down the line, maybe 10, 15 years or so, they're going to have control of our country, and these people that are demonstrating against our country now are going to end up being basically under control of these foreign government people.
Tony, I think you're dead wrong on the time frame. I think you said 10 to 15 years. I disagree with you, my dear friend. I think we're going to see absolute anarchy and chaos in less than 5 years.
You could be right, Zeb.
Now, I'm scared. I really am. Did you happen to see that last night? And Wheels, we got a little feedback on the line. Help me out a little bit. Did you happen to see that video that I'm talking about last night as far as the students at UC Berkeley? It was one of the most despicable things I've ever seen. And quite frankly, I couldn't care less if somebody's offended when I say this. Those kids, those young adults should have been absolutely smacked upside the head so they can learn. They better get a personality reappreciation for this country.
Well, this kind of communist stuff has been going on at the Republic of Berkeley for years. Nothing's changed. It's just gotten worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Just when I used to work in Santa Cruz, I'd go up to the college up there. All you saw pictures of in the colleges was Angela Davis and all these other subversive people.
Yeah.
This has been growing and growing for years. We are in danger due to overpopulation of the enemy that's here already in our country.
I could not agree more. And, Tony, I appreciate your call. God bless you and Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Same
Thank
to
you.
Leanne.
When are we going to wake up and smell the coffee that we're in a lot of trouble? When you look at these kids, they were going by and they were saying filthy things to this guy holding the American flag and denouncing America and just saying things that I can't even, like I said earlier, make any report on here this morning. They were despicably filthy. And then, just to show the attitude, he went and got that ISIS flag, and they go, hey, man, yeah, right on. Men, women, they were both going, yeah, right, down with America. Down with America? If this doesn't make you just absolutely furious, I'm just going to be blunt and say there's something wrong with you. Down with America? A country that provides us the greatest freedoms in the world. And the best in food production from the world's best farmers and ranchers. The best of everything. And then these absolute A1 klutzes say, down with America? These students probably have never worked a day in their life. Their dads and mommies have probably foot the bill for all their college education. They've never had to get their hands soiled or maybe some calluses. And down with America? I was just outraged when I saw this last night. Every one of us should be. Blood pressure medicine's not working this morning. Hey, don't forget Keelix supplements, a very important supplement of vitamins and minerals for your livestock. I don't care if you've got beef, cattle, dairy cattle, horses, sheep, and goats. Keelix has the product for your livestock. Chelated minerals for better absorption to keep them healthy and keep them working for you. That's right. Scott Mitten, the man to call, 435-230-1175. Call him, and he can help you provide your cattle what they need. Absolutely. You give them a call today. Keelix Supplements, very important supplement of vitamins and minerals for your livestock. Call Scott Mitten, 435-230-1175. Caller, I'll be right there with you. Hang tough for just a minute. Also want to remind everybody that we're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant on the 14th for our great big Denny's annual Christmas party from 8 to 11, door prizes. We're going to have choirs singing Christmas carols, Santa Claus, and register for the recliner. But you can go in and register for the recliner right now today. All you have to do is take your food receipt up to the counter, sign it, put your telephone number on there, and you might be the winner of a beautiful Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More Flex Steel men's recliner. Merry Christmas is right. Stop in anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. And don't forget to register for Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 recliner. Jeff, we thank you much for getting involved in our Merry Christmas at Denny's annual Christmas party. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. I've got an idea. I'll just throw it out there. These kids that don't like America, down with America, hate America, I seen that deal last night, too, and it just fried my bacon. Let's make a deal with them that, okay, they don't like America. What country in the world do they like?
Yeah.
Where do they think they'd like to live?
Yeah, send them.
We'll send them there, and we will write off their student debt that they have.
Yep.
They will owe us nothing, but they cannot return.
There you go.
I mean, they get out from underneath the student debt. They can live in a country where they like it, and we don't have to deal with it. And I think the professors that are teaching this crap they should be sent to the country that they think is the best country in the world, and they cannot return.
You know, and it's not the kids' fault in general. It is the professors. It's the lack of responsibility from parents that are bringing their kids up right. Oh, I'm not going to back up for anybody. Somebody out in the audience is going to say, oh, you think you're a perfect parent. Well, you know what? Toby is married and has 3 boys, and they all are extremely proud of this great country and the opportunities that are here. Jake is married with 2 boys, and they're very proud of the opportunities that are here. So, by gosh, I guess I didn't do too bad a job with my lovely wife, and I'm not going to put up with this anti-American sentiment from a bunch of punks.
Exactly. Like I say, if you don't like it here, move. I mean, we're free in America to go live where you want to live. Go. We're not going to stop you. But by George, do not expect us to kowtow to your ideas and your socialist ideas when it is proven there has never been a socialist society that has survived.
Amen. Amen. No, I've had enough with all this garbage. And everybody, I get these calls sometimes on my cell phone. They say, well, now, Zeb, you have to respect the other side, and you have to respect their opinion. The heck I do.
Well, when they start respecting my opinion, instead of calling me racist, fascist, and every ism that they can think of, then I might start respecting theirs.
I got to run and take another call, Doug, but God bless you, man. Thank you.
God bless. Hey, everybody, come on. It's the giving season. Let's do what we can to help our senior centers.
Amen.
If you can make a monthly donation, that would really help them out a lot. Thank you.
All right, Doug. Thank you, man. Hey, caller number 2, I'll be right there, I promise. Just stay with us. Don't go away. I want to remind everybody about the urgent cares. You know, Kyle James started these with his family a long time ago, and I absolutely think they hit a home run right out of the park. They've got 3 urgent cares to serve you and your family. Riverview Urgent Care at 382 North Overland in Burley. Urgent Care of Twin Falls at 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin, and Urgent Care of Jerome at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. You know, you get seated, or you get treated, not seated. No appointment necessary. They're open 7 days a week with extended hours. Always a qualified provider on staff, ready to serve you, and they save you money on your health care. So there you go. More reasons to go to the urgent cares, serving you in Burley, Riverview Urgent Care, Twin Falls Urgent Care, and Jerome Urgent Care. Stop in when you need to today. They can help you and your family at the urgent cares. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Zeb. My husband and I saw that video last night, and it just made our stomachs turn. We just couldn't believe it. To think that my husband is a 20-year military veteran, and he said, I'd like to kick their butts. It just is not right what kids are getting away with nowadays.
You know, they have this attitude of, well, let's have a free-thinking society. Let's do this. Let's do that. You know what? What happened to the old days of what's right and wrong, and there is no gray between? I could never imagine going to school, high school and or college, and denigrating and disrespecting the flag of the United States of America and my country. If I did and my father would have found out about it, he would have used me as a human dust mop.
Oh, I know what you mean. my dad probably is turning over in his grave. He was in the Navy when he was a young man, and he was also a cowboy for 9 years in Montana. And he was a patriotic man, and it would just break his heart.
Absolutely.
To see what these kids are doing nowadays.
Absolutely.
They have no respect for anything. Freedom, liberty, our flag, our country, all they care for is their own selfish wants.
I think you're absolutely right, and I appreciate it. And may I extend to you and your family a very Merry Christmas.
The same to you, Zeb.
Thank you very much. Nice lady right there.
Bye.
Yes, thank you very much. No, I've had it, and we're supposed to be so accepting, and we're supposed to be so open-minded. No, I'm not going to be. I'm not open-minded about the refugees coming in here. I think the valve should be shut off until we have a complete vetting process that really is a vetting process. I think the border wall should go up. I'm not in favor of letting anybody in any time of the day, any time of the night. Come one, come all. No, I'm not in favor of that. I don't care who's offended by this. We've got to stand up and think of America first. And the others, we will help and assist, but we're not going to open up the pantry door and say, take what you need, and if it's all gone, I'll buy more. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And after reading this morning's paper with some of their guest editorials, hey, we got some problems right here in River City. Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. They've got all the equipment to get the job done right. All you need to do is stop in, and talk to Juan over there at Burley. Sharp young man. And they've got all the equipment rentals, and they've got all the retail equipment sales. I mean, my goodness sakes, they can help you with almost anything right there at Barry Equipment and Rental. And if you don't know how to drive or use the equipment, they'll teach you. Absolutely. Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. You stop into Barry Equipment and Rental today. Really nice people. Let's see, what else have I got to tell you about real quick? I think that's it for a minute. We're going to do the weather in a second. Let me see what else is on my little list here. One of the most repugnant people, Jesse Ventura. Remember him? He was the Democrat that was the former governor of Minnesota, pardon me. Well, he has been plaguing the Chris Kyle family for a long time. Chris Kyle died and was shot to death, as a matter of fact, by another military soldier suffering from PTSD, and in 2013. But Jesse Ventura had claimed that the allegation by Chris Kyle in Chris Kyle's book, American Sniper, that he had punched Jesse Ventura for denigrating the Navy SEALs, Jesse Ventura said it never happened. So after Chris Kyle dies on that shooting range by another soldier that was suffering from a mental disorder, it was at that juncture that Jesse Ventura goes after Chris Kyle's lovely wife, and the juries awarded him $1.8 million. Well, he's not done yet, and he wants more. And he just keeps coming back like a bad cold. Jesse Ventura qualifies as the lowest pond scum in America today, along with LaVar Ball of California. Both of these guys not worthy of living here at all. They're not true Americans. Despicable. Jesse Ventura. Let's get a weather forecast in here right now, sponsored by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids and the lovely doctor of audiology, Christine Pickup. Doctor of audiology, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, Mount Harrison Audiology. All you need to do to figure out what's wrong with your hearing or what they can do to help you is call for a hearing screening appointment at 312-0957. Wonderful people serving you, along with Katie Bingham. She is the new patient care coordinator right there at Mount Harrison Audiology. They can help you. They will. you give them a call today. Here's the weather.
If you were asking for some sunshine, well, you definitely have it for this week. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like sunny skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the west 5 to 8 miles an hour. High of 35 is what we're looking at. Tonight, mostly clear with a low right near 15. For tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 35. Overnight low of 15 for tomorrow night. Thursday, sunny and 38. Pretty much the same for Friday, sunny with a high of 38. And for Saturday, sunny near 40. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Dr. Christine Pickup. She knows sound, and she knows hearing, and she can and will help you. Please take my advice and call them today at 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Okay, you probably are aware that Donald Trump was in Utah yesterday, and he has revoked, and I think this is a good deal. He's revoked about 85% of the Obama antiquities of basically locking up a lot of the area of Utah, millions of acres. And Donald Trump went in there and said, wait a minute, no, we're not going to do this anymore. We are going to turn it back over to the states for their control, their management, and he really cut back, like I said, about 85% of what Obama had locked up. And he said that special interest groups, the environmental groups, they're taking our land away, and Donald Trump, I think, hit a home run, a grand slam home run out of the park yesterday in Utah. Oh, sure. There were your protesters, your phony environmental protesters, probably paid protesters, yelling and screaming, oh no, it's the end of the world, people can use the land. Well, I'll tell you something. I really applaud President Trump for what happened yesterday. And he's cutting the controlled lands in Utah by 85%, and I think it's great that Utah is going to be able to manage a lot more of their lands for recreation, grazing, whatever the case might be, that they deem necessary and important, and not an edict from the federal government, and also praised and pushed by the environmental movement. Way to go. Good move. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Let's see, what else have I got on my little list here? The travel ban has been upheld by the Supreme Court for right now, and they're going to be giving their final thoughts on this. I've got a whole bunch of stories. The Supreme Court on yesterday allowed the Trump administration to fully enforce a ban on travel to the United States by residents of 6 mostly Muslim countries. Good thing. And I'm glad to hear that. And, of course, there were those bleeding heart liberals, including Jim Jones, that wrote an op-ed in the paper that absolutely criticized this. I expected him to be in tune with the Democrats and the liberals. The ban applies to travelers from Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. And quite frankly, that's where a lot of the trouble is brewing with the radical Islamic move in the world, to which ISIS has said they're going to be coming out with a lot more attacks and do a lot more disruption. And there are many people in cities like New York and Chicago, elsewhere around the United States, that are very, very concerned about Christmas time as we draw nearer and nearer to a dear holiday. So anyway, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. By the way, too, Certified Pest Control with Kevin. I'm telling you, we got a hold of him about 3 years ago, I think it was, and he really started helping us. Remember when we had all the problems all over the valley with a lot of voles and mice and everything? They were just being overrun. Woo! Did he chase them out of Dodge City? Did a great job. Certified Pest Control, and you get a hold of them at 312-8577. They can help. They will help. They're the best, I think, in the business. Certified Pest Control, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. 312-8577. You get a hold of them today. I sure would like to have a couple of calls. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd really like to have some more people give me a call. I got a few minutes here, and I'd like to hear what you have to say about these absolutely ridiculous students that are supposedly going to school to learn, and their absolute terrible disrespect for this country and our flag. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. This conversation is about the people that are on Social Security. Yesterday I found out that people on Social Security will be getting a 2% increase. Now, that's after 4 years of no increases at all. What gets me is there's not enough transparency about what's going on in the welfare system. I would like to know, and I don't know if you can get this information, how many illegals that are in this country collecting welfare and all the full benefits, and then our people have been subject to people that are on Social Security subject to a 0.5% increase, or 0.5, you would call it, in 4 years.
You know, Tony,
one of these people that are on welfare illegally should, by rights, go for the people that have earned it here in this country.
You know, when I start hearing about the cutbacks and I start hearing about these ridiculous 0.5% or a 0.5 increase, whatever it might be, I just sit there and I laugh sardonically because it's so asinine how they're treating the taxpayers that have given their all for this country, and then literally handing money, goods, and services to people that A, are refugees, B, are illegal aliens, and we're sitting back and taking it. Every one of us should grab a pitchfork and be marching down Pennsylvania Avenue.
You know, how could this be happening unless we've got, with all this corruption up in Washington, I can see why this is happening.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody is doing anything for the American people except for the politicians themselves in Washington.
Well, when you see the kids that have no respect on UC Berkeley and other campuses, you got to sit back and say, wow, this is terrible. It's happening all over the country, and no respect for right and wrong, no respect for the elderly, and it's getting worse every day.
I don't know. Do you have any connections with maybe the welfare department where there would be some transparency, where people would come right out, put these articles in the newspaper that all these illegals are collecting X number of dollars that really they shouldn't be collecting? They should be put out of the country rather than keep them here and break us.
And you know what I'm going to do? I know a person that I'm going to call. I'm not going to mention the name on the air right now until I get permission and or a meeting with them to come on the program. But, Tony, I thank you, and I'll pursue that. I just wrote a note, and I'm going to take care of it right after I get off the air.
Okay, boy, we need something like that in a hurry.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Hey, quickly, caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget, 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, our major sponsor, and they say to get ready for the muck and the yuck and the ice and the snow winter driving. We had a taste of that Sunday coming home from church. They've got the best tires with all the different tread designs to get you through all those yucky conditions and all the tire chains. And, of course, they've got the best, absolutely not bragging when it's a fact, brake service in the industry. They are good. Along with front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. Boy, colder mornings, you better make sure that battery's going to turn over that four-wheeled wonder and get you going. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, go ahead. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi. You were asking about why the students are being so anti-America. I just wonder if maybe it comes from their family. I know not all parents, not all children follow their parents, at least when they're young or when they leave home. You know what I mean? They go out and try their own wings and whatever. But you were talking about the young man who was shoplifting and his father's pulling him out of school. Well, to me, that's clearly his father is dictating or showing him the wrong way to live his life.
I agree totally. That's what.
And the other question I had about him is, why does his father think another school's going to take him? Just wondering.
Well, you bring up a really good point, but I think the kid does possess some good basketball talent, but this is where our society's turned upside down. I couldn't care less if the kid can't flip a tiddlywink. I want him to at least grow up and understand right from wrong and that there are repercussions to all of your actions. This father goes down as the most despicable parent of the year as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I have to agree with you because you have to let your children learn from their mistakes or they're going to keep making them.
Amen. Thank you. And by the way, to you and yours, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, and same to you.
All right. Thank you for your call. Hey, speaking of Christmas, don't forget Four Paws annual Christmas open house. Take your dogs over there, and I'll tell you what, they're going to have Santa Claus. Put your Doberman on Santa Claus's lap. Get a picture quickly. You're going to love it. They're going to have all kinds of fun. Spin a wheel for discounts and rewards. They're going to have grandpa's giveaways. They're going to have food. They're going to have all kinds of fun. Kathy Krause and the crew at Four Paws Annual Christmas Open House. It's going to be on December 9th, coming up this next weekend from 11 to 2 at 370 West 200 South of Rupert. 438-4444. Four Paws Annual Christmas Open House. Lots of fun. Right now, we're going to head for the news. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Don't go away. And welcome back. Merry Christmas. Wheels, where's my Christmas music? Gotta have that, man. And Happy New Year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. There you go. Anyway, back at Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Oh, you've got all kinds of Christmas parties planned, and about 27 people are coming over for Christmas dinner. Oh, and you haven't cleaned out the living room or the den or maybe your other rooms like my office, and you need a dumpster to get rid of everything. Yep, they've got them in various sizes at Western Way Services. I need big one, extra large. Never going to be the same in this office after the Christmas and New Year holidays. I'm cleaning. Anyway, get a hold of Western Way Services. They are always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Dumpsters, you betcha they can help you. They'll drop it off. You fill it up, they'll come and get it. Western Way Services, serving you. Also want to remind everybody, Merry Christmas wish from, let's see, where are we at right here? Oh, our friends over at the Fairview Inn and Suites by Marriott at 230 West 7th Street North in Burley. Number to call, 677-5000. Here's a great deal. You know, you got all kinds of people, your relatives and friends coming in for Christmas. You don't want them staying at your house. You don't want them using your bathroom. So they've got a great idea at Fairview Inn and Suites by Marriott. Make an online reservation right now. Have them stay over there and use their bathroom and then come over to your house during the rest of the day. Merry Christmas from Fairview Inn and Suites by Marriott, 230 West 7th North in Burley, serving you with a Merry Christmas. Absolutely. Great, great idea. You know, and also, I want to say thank you very much to some people that have been so good to us on this program, and they've been so good to the community. And I'm talking about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, Joel Heward, his family, and his staff serving your families with always the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. They absolutely can and will help you when there's the passing of a loved one. It makes no difference if you're way out in a rural area. They'll be there to help you with all the arrangements. You don't have to just drive into them. Call them. They'll come to you. 436-5636, the number to call. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. You call them today. I know I'm running a little bit behind here, and I apologize to my guests, but I also want to remind everybody about my good old buddy Doug Martin at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Hayburn. Doug is one of our A1 listeners. Appreciate it, and he appreciates your business at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. And he says, remember the reason for the season? The birth of Jesus. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas from Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. There you go. Woo! Let's go to the phone line right now. And I think I've heard of this lady. She's never been on my program before, but I think I've heard of her somehow, and I'm going to have her introduce herself and tell us all about her. Mona Fishman, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you? I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're very welcome. Now, why do I know about you? What do you do? You have something to do with the music business, so give us a thumbnail sketch of who you are and what you do.
Well, I am a musician. I'm a songwriter, and I formerly wrote songs for Ron Paul and Rand Paul, and I was music contributor for Voices of Liberty, which was what the Ron Paul channel had transformed into Voices of Liberty before it became the Liberty Report. And after I was supporting Rand Paul for president, but after he dropped out and he was supporting Trump, after Trump did his anti-Hillary speech, he won over a lot of us Ron and Rand Paul supporters, including myself. And I took head for Rand, and I transformed it into Trump. It was called Trump Train, Jump On It, and I performed it at some of the Trump rallies here in Las Vegas and in Henderson, Nevada. And just as a grassroots supporter, you know, I don't speak for any of them, you know, it's all my own ideas, but my songs are all issue-based about things that are important to libertarians and Trump supporters now. I now have my fourth song up, and the reason I'm on your show is because, you know, that mean Joe Scarborough from Morning Joe.
Yes.
Is promoting an anti-Trump Christmas album, so he really put the hate back in Christmas. And Trump has put the Christ back in Christmas, and I have a new song for him called, it has two names, it's called Thank You, President Trump, also known as America Loves Donald Trump. And it's a rock song, and it actually has, it's a really fun song, and not too hard a rock, but just like medium rock, and I hope Trump will like it. It's a Christmas present for Trump and to fight Joe's nasty songs. And this one, you know, basically thanking Trump and saying how proud we are of him for saving jobs and money, and it has America First and has Russia, and it also has fake news, very fake news, CNN and MSNBC in the song, and Clinton's pay to play. Clinton's in all my songs for Trump, by the way.
I like you.
Does that help?
I tell you what, Mona, I'm on your side. I'm waving my pom-poms in favor of what you're doing, because I was really surprised, and I'm going to tell my engineer I'm getting a little feedback, Wheels. You're going to have to ride the gain a little bit. But Joe Scarborough at MSNBC, you know, he was leaning towards being a little bit on the right wing and a Republican supporter, etc., until he got engaged to his cohort in crime on MSNBC. And now this guy is absolutely an avowed Trump hater. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I have a little, yes. Absolutely, without a doubt. Horrible. And it almost makes you wonder why. You know, I think a lot of the whole cause of the brainwashing of half of the country that is because these news organizations are still allowed to keep their licenses, their broadcasting licenses, even though they lie. Now, they should either have their licenses revoked, I think, especially after the other day when the stock market tanked because of their fake news of ABC. Either that or they need to remove the label news from their station and just add stories so people know that they can determine the difference. Don't you agree?
I do. And Mona, I'm really intrigued with some of your music. And is there a way that we can play something as a little teaser here on the program this morning? Or is there a way I can get a copy of it and I can play it during my Christmas music every day on my show, etc.? Tell me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. Because, yes, my songs are available for free on my SoundCloud, as well as I have a YouTube channel where I made some cute videos and put some little posters to go along with the music. But if you want to, upload a CD or play it, in your car, and you can just hook it up to SoundCloud. Also, you could probably just Google my name, Mona Fishman, Fishman, and the word Trump, and my songs should pop up as well. But on my SoundCloud, they're available for free, and I recommend you play all of them at all of your anti-Hillary locker-up rallies. Would be great, outside in the parking lot of her book tours, which we all know, by the way, may I add, if she wanted to have a bestseller, she should have published her emails into a book. Don't you agree?
For some reason, we've never met, but now you're my new best friend. I love this. But now what about the left?
Brazil's the one who's going to have the bestseller as far as I'm concerned, don't you think?
I do. And what about the left, though, with Joe Scarborough and others? I understand that they're coming out with, Trump being the Grinch that stole Christmas, etc. And these songs that you've written are combating this kind of a movement, right?
Yes, especially my new thank you song. It really, and it's a lot of fun. It's to fight, to counter the effects. I think Trump should know that there's artists out here who adore him, appreciate what he's doing for all of us, what he's sacrificed to do all this for us, because he certainly didn't need the job. I just want him to know, and I'm basically giving it to him as a Christmas gift, to counter effect whatever effects that Trump, Joe, I can't stand him. And, I love that he brought up that poor Lori, his intern, Joe's intern that was had her untimely death in his office.
Yes.
Found in his office. And
yes.
Brought it up. In fact, I was thinking about in a song, some lyrics in my next song, for Joe specifically, or maybe for Lori. Lori, what's your story?
Yeah. I am going to download that.
In the grave, I don't know, something like that.
I'm going to download your music.
Just for Joe.
I'm going to download that. I'm going to use that as some of the intros for my different segment hours. And politically speaking, though, Mona, have you ever seen so much animosity in a losing effort by Hillary and the Democrats and the left in general? They won't give up and they will not accept that they lost.
It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. No, I have not. And the way that she's getting away with everything, and unless Jeff Sessions is working very stealthily, which I hope that's the case, I don't know. I thought she would be, at least thoroughly investigated and have the heat on her. But instead, like Trump says, they make they look under a microscope for poor Michael Flynn, but they don't care about, Hillary's lies or James Comey's compromise statements or whatever you want to call them. It's just astounding, and it affects relationships between Americans. I wasn't fond of Obama, to say the least, but I didn't hate his supporters. The Trump haters actually hate us who support him too, I think.
That's
and
right.
That's so scary.
That's right.
They don't understand why we like Trump, and they want to take the worst possible reason of fakeness, and it's really a story. It's not news. It's because of the news.
All right, now I want you to once again give us exactly the information as to how someone can download your songs in pro Donald Trump for Christmas, and I personally am going to write it down myself so I can follow through on this. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, on SoundCloud, my name is Mona, M-O-N-A. This is all one word. Mona Liegi, L-I-D as in David, J as in John, I, Fishman, F-I-S-H-M-A-N. And you can go to my playlist. I have a Mona's Trump songs, and I've got Trump Train Jump on it. That's the one that I performed at the rallies. And maybe you saw me. You know what? You possibly Zeb Bell. If I might say maybe that's why I rang a bell.
Yeah.
Pun intended, is because I was in different news articles and stuff for Associated Press and Reuters,
Okay.
Las Vegas Sun. Had my Hillary doll while I was performing the songs. They had me there as a supporter singing songs for Trump. So if people aren't familiar with SoundCloud and they want to go to my YouTube channel, I have a Trump playlist of Mona's Trump songs. My YouTube channel is Seahorse Mama. It's Seahorse, M as in Mary, O, M as in Mary, M as in Mary, A. And that's my Seahorse Mama is my channel.
All right.
And I also have another list, a song list called Trump Jams, where I found a selection of other artists' songs as well as my own, of different kinds of music that made really touching Trump videos and just kept them all together. And that's a fun one, too. But, yes, absolutely, you can upload my songs for free on the SoundCloud channel, and that's the whole purpose of the SoundCloud one, is in case somebody wants to just plug it in with their, if they have the outlet in their car, and they can hook it up to their phone and push play and listen to it for free.
All right, Mona.
Or burn a CD if they have that capability. But hopefully we'll be able to hear it at some Trump rallies soon, I would think.
I certainly hope so. And I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, and thank you for being on our program this morning. And I'm going to download those, and then I'll get back in touch with you and have you back on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
All right, God bless.
Bye, everybody.
Mona Fishman, and she's counteracting what the left is doing to denigrate and run down President Trump at Christmas time, especially Joe Scarborough from MSNBC. And I'm going to download those. I'm going to tell Wheels or somebody I'm not going to download anything with my lack of computer skills. And we'll try to listen to some of those songs that are pro-Trump, pro what this president is trying to do at Christmas time. Thank you, Mona Fishman. Appreciate that. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I would love to hear from you. While I am waiting for your phone calls, I want to remind you about Ark Animal Hospital. Something really serious that I want to talk about this morning. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. The number to call, 678-1177. The wintertime is a very dangerous time, they say, for dogs, especially if they're down by the Snake River. There is a blue-green algae growing right now in the Snake River, which can be deadly to your dogs. Keep them away from the river. There's a lot of different things to watch for, but basically this green algae can kill dogs, and it happens mostly to hunting dogs, and they say keep away from the Snake River because that blue-green algae is very deadly. If you have questions about this, contact our friends at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. The number to call, 678-1177. They do have warm hearts for the cold noses. Absolutely. One other thing I want to remind you real quick is fun in the angel dandruff, fun in the snow. You know where you need to go, honestly, if you're going to be doing some Christmas shopping for you. Nothing better than going and buying yourself a present. Head on over to Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. They've got all the new 2018 snowmobiles. They've got a showroom just chock full of four-wheelers and side-by-sides. I don't know how they get all this in there. And they've got a fantastic accessory department. Woo! Everything you need. And if you need to keep on running and there's a little problem, they got an absolutely great service department. What more could you ask for? Nick and Randy and the whole crew at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, wishing you a Merry Christmas from the place where the fun is sold. Let's Ride. Absolutely. Oh, let's see. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And I have to take some time here and tell you what's going to happen on next Thursday, the 14th. Not this week, next week on the 14th. We're going to be broadcasting live and direct for 3 hours at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, at 611 North Overland in Burley with the Denny's annual Christmas party. Oh, my goodness, door prizes. Santa Claus is going to be there. We're going to have a choir singing Christmas carols. And you can come in there and eat, and then go up to the cash register, sign your receipt, put your phone number on it, and you might be the lucky winner of a beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner that's being put up by our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Jeff and the crew, along with Thomas at Denny's, oh my goodness, what a great Christmas present that's going to be for some lucky winner. The drawing's going to be right there on the program December 14th. So I urge you to stop in and see Jeff and the crew over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland, and we thank them for this donation of a beautiful Flex Steel men's recliner. Whoa, we're going to give away while we're at Denny's for a Christmas party. It's going to be a lot of fun. You be sure and stop in. You better believe. And you know what? While I'm talking about them just for a minute, I also want to remind you this is absolutely Santa's favorite place to shop, and that's right there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Now, the reason I say that is I just don't know how in the world they've lowered the prices so much. Listen, they've got clocks and mirrors and home decor items 40% off. They've got bunk beds starting at $168, queen mattress sets starting at $199, and my goodness, you just better treat yourself. Treat yourself and go in and check out all of Santa's favorite buys at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And what a nice staff, too. I mean, they've got Jeff and LeGrand and Emily and Morgan and Darren and Hillary. My goodness, they all wish you a very Merry Christmas. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Oh, we are rolling on and say good morning. Next half hour, we've got Michael Doherty, and we're going to be talking about internet neutrality and how things have changed with the FCC, etc. I'm very interested in this because I don't know that much about it, and I'm going to learn quite a bit right with you folks as we have that on the program. Right now, calls are welcome and appreciated, 436-2244. I did have some people call me during the news break that were really upset. One lady was really upset about what happened at UC Berkeley with the total lack of respect for our American flag and the filthy things that were directed and said towards our American flag. And then to make a long story short, the person that was filming this as kind of a gotcha video put the American flag down and went to get an ISIS flag, and the whole mood of these ridiculous punks changed, and they were going, yeah, man, we're all for you. They were absolutely cheering on ISIS at the University of California in Berkeley, and it just shows you how sick and perverted our young people and their educational system is today. Absolutely pathetic. Let's see, what else have we got cooking? Oh, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Boy, these are the pros that really, really care about your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. You know, for you, your family, and your business, they can cover you. Boy, I mean, they are the professionals that really are dedicated and responsive to your needs. Get a hold of them today. Call, make an appointment at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance on Highway 24 in Rupert. I can tell you firsthand that they do the job for you and make sure you're covered. Really, really good people. All right, let's see, what else have I got? One other public service announcement that I want to get on this hour, and what did I do with it? Hold on a second. Yours truly with his great bookkeeping system. The American Falls Community Choir, directed by Dan Bowman and accompanied by David Bowman, will be presenting their annual Christmas concert at the Rupert United Methodist Church at 605 8th Street on Monday, December the 11th. That's next Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's a community event and they're going to have light refreshments served. Your family and friends, everybody's invited, and a love offering will be accepted. For further information, call the church office at 436-3354. It is Christmas time in the Magic Valley, and for that matter, everywhere else. And we've got a lot of notes, public service announcements, etc., that we're very happy to bring for a Merry Christmas. And two, by the way, don't forget that big stock cow sale. I got to hit that one more time. Great big stock cow sale going to be held next Monday at noon at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, and they're expecting over 200 head of young cows, 150 middle-aged cows of all ages, and this is going to be at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And Merv, May, Cade, Roggy, Lance, Udy, you call them. They can take care of your consignments and information on this sale. Big stock cow sale next Monday at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard at high noon. Don't you miss it. Let's check over with Wheels right now and see if we have our guest ready to go. Is Michael Doherty on the line, Wheels?
Yes, sir.
Hey, by the way, thank you, Wheels. Appreciate it. And right now, let's go to the phone line, and we have with us Mr. Michael Doherty. Michael, we had a slight change with the booking agent, and they put you in this place, and I'm so glad because I really trust your education on internet neutrality, etc. Tell us a little bit about what's all this hubbub about anyway. Explain it to me, a poor, dumb cowboy that doesn't use the computer that much.
All right, well, my opinion is this. The government regulators will take anything they do and they'll title it something that sounds really great. Net neutrality. We're going to be neutral. We're going to be fair to everyone. The little guy, the little guy, the little guy. And then all the people that don't understand how they work go, oh, that sounds so good. And then they pack it full of regulations and all sorts of things to quote-unquote save the world. And all those things are really, really expensive. So then what happens is the little guy who they're trying to protect, can't play in the business game and can't have his business and can't have innovation. And suddenly the neutrality part turns out to be just a false headline. And who wins are the big fat government fat cats and the big corporations. And the big corporations win because there's no little innovators out there. The little entrepreneurs can't afford to get on the ladder. So there's the battle of net neutrality because they're saying the government's going to put all this regulation in that's going to make it illegal for the big bad companies to do these big bad things like throttle. And it's all bogus. It's who reads 1,000 pages of detail? And so what we have here is your typical red herring media toss.
Okay, now, good, but I've got a bunch of questions, and you're going to look at your telephone and say, boy, is this guy ever stupid. But here's where I'm coming from. I don't understand the pros and the cons of this like I should. Should I, as a private individual that runs also a business out of my home, 2 businesses out of my home, should I be concerned about the passage, and where are we at right now on this?
Well, this is another thing that surprises people. This isn't in Congress. This is in an agency, the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. And the Federal Communications Commission wanted to get their hands on this during the Obama administration because they love not having to deal with the courts and the public. So they found a law from the 19-teens, I think 1917 or 14, when the nation was being wired with telephone service, and that was their jurisdiction to regulate that. So they could make rules, and they could make all sorts of policies, which actually are laws, without it going through Congress. So they said a couple of years ago, you know what? The Internet's just like that. We have jurisdiction over that. And so they just anoint themselves. And when an agency just anoints themselves, then the agency requires you to fight them in court over a decade. So that's what happened. They said, we are the ones, we say we are, and until someone challenges us in court, we are. Well, Ajit Pai was the Republican commissioner at the time, And he thought they're trying to backdoor all these outrageous regulations would actually hurt rural areas, hurt innovation, hurt niche companies that want to get in the business that could serve smaller markets. And that's just one example. And so he kind of went rogue and went public with it, which was a pretty gutsy thing to do when no one in the world thought that Donald Trump would ever win and thought Hillary would be president. So then when Hillary lost, he gets made chairman. And all he's doing is dismantling what they backdoored in the last year of the Obama administration. But people are screaming because, the left, since Trump has won, have got a PhD in temper tantrum throwing and hysteria.
So
and that's pretty much what we got.
Okay, now, Michael, there are people, and I was reading a little cheat sheet here about this morning, that John Katko, representative from New York, had a person, I understand, stand up and scream at him, and he said, "I will find you and your family, and I will kill you. Do you understand? I will literally find all of you." All of this regarding net neutrality? I mean, what is this? Is nuts.
It is nuts. But this is what happens when the left teaches the public that's uninformed that threats, temper tantrums, and this type of behavior is okay. I mean, they've got people so gimmed up and paranoid, it's insane. And I would tell your listeners, just to Google zdnet.com, net neutrality, is a really good article by a non-right-wing paper that's in technology that is objective, and he gives a very fair explanation of what's going on, and he asks people to stop the hate mail. You just have to chill out and read what's going on. But look, when we have lit the fire on these far-left crazy groups that are just hysterical about things, it's crazy-making. I mean, that's just nuts, but it doesn't surprise me in the least.
You know something, Michael, with your ability to explain this, and you do a very good job, why don't you tell me and my audience that if the FCC, which I understand is scheduled to vote next month on this plan, if they vote yes, what's going to happen, and if they vote no, what's going to happen?
Nothing will happen, and no matter what, in the long term. All that's going to happen is the road to controlling everybody and requiring huge regulations and killing innovations is not going to happen. You're not going to notice anything. You're not going to notice a thing. It's just bureaucrats battling for power, wanting to control the future, and their control of the future is going to be dissolved. And nothing freaks out a bureaucrat and a government lover than knowing they can't control everything. Then they scream hysteria. We're going to die. What's all going to happen? It's all this, and all this stuff. And then it doesn't happen, and they go, never mind. Or they get their way, and they put Obamacare in, and everything goes terrible. And we know things are terrible, and they'll not acknowledge it. And they'll go, oh, no, that's not happening. So to coin a New York term, forget about it. It's all a bunch of bureaucratic drama.
Well, why has it got to this point, though, Michael? I mean, if you say forget about it, it's all about the drama, political drama. Why has it escalated to this point where actually people are making death threats? What do they perceive as something like a Holocaust or an Armageddon that's going to happen?
Because they're believing the Kool-Aid. Look, you think Twitter and Facebook and Google and all these big tech companies don't love this? I mean, all those rich fat cats who have so much money so early in life want to feel really good about themselves, and they also love, and here's the wink, the fact that this will really get rid of a lot of innovators. Once they're over the finish line, folks, and they've got their big thing, and they don't have to worry about as many small companies nipping at their heels, and they look really good. They look really caring, and they dupe a lot of people. So I can't speak to what paranoid people's things are, but anything that the Trump administration wants to do is by default freaked out on by the media and the left. Look at what just happened with the Flynn thing and Ross and ABC. I mean, they're so trigger happy and overreactive It's crazy. We have seen, I've never seen a meltdown like this last this long since Trump won.
Oh, my.
So this is just another example, because it's Trump's administration, and they've got to go hysterical over everything. I mean, these people are so off the deep end that they can't bring themselves to say one single good thing about anything the administration's done. Not one.
If they, the liberals, lose in their cause and the vote goes against them, and like you said, not to worry, it's not that big a deal anyway.
Happen. But go ahead. They're going to lose. But go ahead.
Well, in that regard, I mean, how anticipatory are you that they're going to do something foul and negative and cause a lot more problems? I mean, what are your worries there?
Think so, because I don't think this doesn't, people, everyday Americans, this isn't like Obamacare. They can't really relate to this at this level. There's a whole bunch of tech nut bags, and they do a lot of terrible things, you know, and they're really, you know, crazy. But you know, that's just the way that goes. You know, I mean, look, poor G. Pye is a great guy. I happen to know him. He's got small kids. These people are picketing his house. You know, they're sitting there, you know, making insinuations of what they could do to his kids. I mean, these people are dangerous. This is crazy. This is not how we have debate and discourse. We do not vilify people as evil killers. You know, it's just nuts. But there's so many people in this country now that have no education about the business process or the government process that they're willing to make public hysterical fools of themselves instead of work inside the process.
Well, it sounds to me like it's just one more nail in the coffin of the liberals trying to take more power and control over the rest of us. And if they don't get their way, they're a bunch of whining, crying babies with hammers in their hands. Is that fairly good analogy?
And in that vein, you just nailed it. That's exactly right. I mean, just don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. And don't listen to what the threat of what's going to happen. Watch what happens. Nothing's going to happen. You know, he's crazy. You don't want governments coming in, controlling the Internet, and restricting you, and watching you, and knowing about you, and killing innovation. You don't want it to happen. Sorry. You want things to keep going.
Absolutely.
G. Pye is a great guy. He is courageous. He is not a politico. He's a lucky break to be on that commission. We are very fortunate to have him.
You know, in regards to the computer and technocracy in this country in general, Michael, how high is up? I mean, man alive, everything we do now, they know every move, they know everything we almost say every day, they know everything about us. What are your concerns about losing our individualism and our privacy?
Well, it depends on what the public does. The government has got to work on keeping the trust of the people. So, and there's a difference between regulators and law enforcement, and so it's, you know, we have to be more active, and we have to hold them accountable. If there was accountability within the government when someone screws up, the American public would have a lot more faith in it. But what we're seeing is no one's being held accountable when they do something really bad if they're a prominent person. That is the face of corruption. If that keeps going on, then they will be very upset about privacy. And the bad thing about that is when our law enforcement is restricted in keeping us safe, who are we going to have to keep us safe?
Right.
So that's where it starts, in trust in the government. And if they work better on that, we're going to have to compromise some privacy because technology has jumbled everything up in a big stew. And the good guys are hidden in front of it. The bad guys use the good guys to hide around. So you got to kind of dig through the good guys to get to the bad guys. But look, no one's listening to every move you make unless they suspect you're something. There's too many people making moves for that to be physically possible. But things are, we have to be careful isn't about being surveilled on every move you make now, but more of like surveilled on like who do you give money to? What are your political views? Who do you support? You know, that's where you got to be careful because when you got people in the government that are using data to go after political distance, and you know what? And what side of the aisle do you think plays nutso more than the other?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, not to point fingers, but I mean, all I gotta do is like you don't see the right running around picketing people's homes and threatening their children because they're not going to church.
Absolutely.
This is the type of stuff we have to be careful of, and that's why you have to make sure that people are held accountable for abusing the privilege.
Amen. Michael Doherty, it's always refreshing to have you on the program. I'm glad you subbed in for the other person because you did a great job and really helped me a lot. Appreciate it, and I want to extend to you and your family a very Merry Christmas.
Same to you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I learned a lot by talking to him, and I appreciate him. Michael Doherty talking about net neutrality on our program this morning. And boy, when it comes to the net, the computers and everything else, yes, yours truly, I have to be very frank and honest with you. I shirk my duties and pass them on to someone else. Goober. That's right. She takes care of it for me. Oh, we got to get a weather forecast on in here right now, and then we'll take some more calls. I want to hear from you. I don't care if we talk about Christmas or whatever. Give me a jingle. I got a little free time here this morning. And first of all, I want to have the weather sponsored by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with 2 locations to serve you in Burley and Rupert. These folks have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. They are the best at what they do. All the tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, business consulting, yes, they are the professionals. And they remind you it's about time to get your 1099s and W-2s out. You better hurry. And tax planning before the end of the year. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you were asking for some sunshine, well, you definitely have it for this week. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like sunny skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the west 5 to 8 miles an hour. High of 35 is what we're looking at. Tonight, mostly clear with a low right near 15. For tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 35. Overnight low of 15 for tomorrow night. Thursday, sunny and 38. Pretty much the same for Friday, sunny with a high of 38. And for Saturday, sunny near 40. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Offices in Burley and Rupert, and they thank everyone for their business this past year. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. All right, now it's your turn. You give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I would like to know what you think about Trump's travel ban. I have been in favor of it, and I read articles in the paper this morning, as a matter of fact, by a Karen Kornamatsu, and absolutely she tore into the travel ban. And then, of course, reading a very liberal op-ed by Jim Jones of our state of Idaho. He's against everything that Trump has done to, I think, make us much more protected, and denigrated Trump for the travel ban. What are your thoughts? It's the president's right, according to our Constitution, to impose a yes or a no to who comes into this country. And the travel ban, as you may or may not know, applies to Chad, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. Most of those countries, of course, really have put forth, if you will, a lot of the Muslim terrorists that are around the world today. And I think it's just absolutely a good thing that we have a president that is going to be awake and aware of what's happening in these countries and who's coming into this country, our United States. And I'm all in favor of a travel ban. I want your thoughts. We got time. We'll take a quick poll. Are you in favor of the travel ban from those countries, or are you against it? Please give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, this isn't the final ruling, even though the Supreme Court came out with a wink and a nod and said, yeah, we think everything's okay. There's going to be challenges, and then they'll make their final decision. But at least they came out and they did say that the travel ban was allowed to the Trump administration, and I think it's another protection device for us here in the United States. Your thoughts? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, I found it a little bit interesting this morning. We'll get to that in a minute. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, Zeb, I'm a little bit on the fence on this. I don't think he went far enough. I think he should have included California and Mexico.
I knew you'd say something like that. You know, I can't argue with you because we got enough problems right here, and many of which are living in the left-wing state of California, so I can't argue with your premise.
Anyway, I'll get out of the way. May the Lord bless you and your whole audience.
Jerry, God bless you, man. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you much. I did notice, though, in the paper this morning, and I'm not saying this tongue-in-cheek because it's extremely worrisome, that a Twin Falls man that is a Muslim, and he tried to run over a couple of people in Twin Falls, yelling and screaming that he wanted to kill Americans. This is in Twin Falls. Now, a lot of the folks might say that Adnan Ibrahimic was drunk, which he was, but still making the comment that he wanted to kill Americans, right here in Magic Valley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I'm definitely in favor of.
You know, Joe, why? Tell me why.
Well, we just don't need any more trouble, harassment by Muslims in this country.
You know, it wasn't a bunch of Methodists or Presbyterians or Mormons or Lutherans that got on those airplanes and took down the Twin Towers. It wasn't a bunch of Presbyterians or Catholics or anything else that were in San Bernardino and shot everybody. I'm just a little sick and tired of these protectionist devices that are being supplied by the liberals to let anybody and everybody in here.
Absolutely. Shut the doors.
I agree. Joe, God bless you and Merry Christmas. Thank you.
All right. Same to you and your wife.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. What are your thoughts on that, the travel ban? I absolutely support Trump. I support the administration for doing this as another safety and precautionary device. There are those of the liberal bent that say, oh, no, don't do that. You'll just make those people madder at us. I couldn't care less. We're going to protect us first and worry about their feelings, their hurt feelings, secondarily or third or fourth or fifth, whatever down the line. Give me your thoughts. I got 2 yeses that they're in favor of the travel ban. Let's see how many more we can get in the next couple of minutes. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Thank you, caller. Go ahead, please.
I'm for it.
And why?
Well, my way I look at it, if somebody says they're going to harm you or hurt you or kill you, you don't open your front door and say, hey, come on in the house.
Amen.
Let's have dinner.
Amen.
I mean, it's common sense.
You know, everybody, and they always use these silly, frivolous phrases like, well, that's unconstitutional. No, it's not. Read the doggone Constitution, and Donald Trump and his presidency and his administration have every right to do this.
Exactly. When is it unconstitutional to make liberals cry? That's what I'd like to know. And they're crying big alligator tears over this.
Well,
because they want to take America down, and the best and easiest way to do it is do it from within.
Yeah. And if you have a group of people that have perpetrated and pushed forward a crime against humanity and a crime against Americans, that being radical Islam, don't you kind of want to look at them a little closer before you open the door and let them in?
That's exactly it. You know, it says in the Bible to feed your enemy and pray for him, but it doesn't say to bring them in your house where they can kill you.
Yeah, that's right. And quite frankly, I think we've got a real problem with liberalness in this nation and people. I was really surprised by some of the people on a local basis that absolutely open the door, let them all in. I can't live that way.
No, I can't. Well, if they want to let them in their house. Let them come live in their guest house, right in their yard, and see how they like it.
And
they bring them in, they put them in everybody else's yard, but not theirs.
And living out of your billfold.
Exactly. It's terrible.
You know, Doug,
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you do a lot to help further the cause for a lot of people. You do a lot of charity work. I, myself, and my wife do a lot of charity work. And when I have these very dense between the ears individuals call me and say, well, you're a bigot, you're a hate monger, you want everything for yourself, I really get upset because of all the time, effort, and money that we've donated over the years this program has been on the air. These people are so insensitive and so stupid to say those kind of remarks.
Exactly, and I'd like to look at their tax returns, see how much they donate to a charitable organization, how much time they put into donating.
Bingo.
I've noticed the left wants everybody else to donate, but I don't see them donating to a true charitable association.
Couldn't agree more, my friend. Thank you for your vote. I appreciate it.
Oh, one quick other thing, too, on the tax bill, and Nancy Pelosi say we're going to go into Armageddon.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
But, think about this. Just some food for thought. Okay, President Trump gets this tax deal through, and it's going to put money back in the people's pockets.
Yep.
It's going to help the economy. We're going to have a 3 to a 4% GB or better. I mean, he's already got it up to 3, and hardly anything has been passed other than him rolling back a bunch of regulations that has been stifling everything.
Yep. The next time...
And you can imagine what the Democrats are looking at for the midterm. They're going, what do we have to stand on if we've got a 4% GB... Anyway, yeah. Did you ever have one of those?
Yes.
Anyway, if we got 4%, I mean, what do we got to stand on to do anything? They don't. They have nothing to stand on.
Well, the next time you go to New York or Chicago and you're walking down, like in New York, the Bowery and all the homeless people, be sure and go up to them and ask them for a job.
Exactly.
That's the point I'm trying to make. If corporations in this country are making more money and they bring the labor force and they bring ideas of growth and new concepts into this country, back to this country, great. It helps our economy. It helps everybody with jobs and everything else. And I'm so sick and tired of these crybaby liberals saying, oh, it's going to be Armageddon.
Well, yeah, because Armageddon for them, because it's going to get people off their dole and working for themselves and making money and making America great again.
I got to run, but, buddy, I appreciate your call. Thank you.
God bless.
So far, everybody's been in favor of the travel ban, and I thank you much. Hey, by the way, Merry Christmas wishes go out from Streamline Precision at 120 South, 100 West of Burley. Tim and the crew at 678-9204, and they say, by golly, we can do all these things, like putting up steel buildings and saving you money. Lots of manufacturing and contracting. They have everything under one roof, serving you, and Streamline Precision at 120 South, 100 West of Burley, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas wishes from Dot Foods at 1541 West 27th in Burley, and they are America's largest food industry redistributor, and they've got great employees and great drivers all over the United States. Dot Foods in Burley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Oh, and by the way, Streamline Precision encourages you to go up to a person in uniform, shake their hand, and say thank you for what you do for your home area and America. Men and women that put their lives on the line every single day. Thank you from Streamline Precision at 120 South, 100 West of Burley, and Merry Christmas. Caller, I've got exactly 30 seconds. Real fast. Go.
I'm for the travel ban. And you know what? We have to have a passport if we go into a different country.
Yep.
I don't even want these people to get one, though. I'm not indicating that. I'm just saying that, we have our rules, and we try to respect other countries' rules, too.
All right,
That's
Keith.
why we have a passport.
I appreciate you getting in under the wire this morning, because I got to run to the news right now, but I got your vote, and I thank you so much. Thank you.
You bet.
Oh, I know the liberals out there, they're going to say, oh, you're nothing but a bunch of redneck bigots. Well, I'm proud of that. Thank you. News next. I'll be back in 7. And good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, I'm Zeb Bell with our main sponsor, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, saying get ready for wintertime driving. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. We'll have Dr. History in just a few minutes, but right now I want to talk about a state senator that really cares. A state senator that cares and helps his constituents and wishes all of them a Merry Christmas. I'm talking about State Senator Kelly Anthon from Rupert. He really cares, and on behalf of his family and himself, he wishes you the happiest, merriest Christmas ever and a blessed New Year. Thank you, Senator Kelly Anthon. Also, real quick, I want to remind you that on Thursdays we have a segment called Cassia County School Days. Our thanks go out to A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. All the baby clothing, all the baby furniture, everything, puzzles, games, toys, it's all there. A family store for your holiday shopping and free gift wrapping. That bails me out. That helps a lot. Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Also teamed up with Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call and find out how they can save you money on outpatient surgeries, 677-8888. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County on Thursdays. Right now, here he is. Folks, if you are watching this on our TV screens, your TV screen at home on your computer, zebbell.com, you will notice that this man walked in with all the pomp and circumstance of President Trump with his tie and his coat on. Ooh,
white shirt.
I am in, pardon?
White shirt.
A white shirt. I know. You're just absolutely belittling me. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb.
How are you?
Good. A little cold out there, 25 degrees, but no wind and sunny.
You're not going to sweat.
No. It's actually nice out there.
What is going on in the world of history?
Okay, today we're going to talk about Theodore Roosevelt.
Old Teddy.
Now, the first thing that usually comes to people's mind is San Juan and
San Juan Hill.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this week I watched a movie called The Rough Riders.
Right.
Excellent movie. I really enjoyed it. Had Tom Berenger, Sam Elliott as Bucky O'Neill.
Yes.
And for my listeners, if you want to read about Bucky O'Neill, who actually was killed over there, I did a story on him back on July 15th, 2014. So if you go back, you'll be able to read a story about him before.
Why did you do the story on him particularly?
He was, as I believe, he was chasing some bad guys. And that's kind of the story of what he did back then.
After Democrats.
Yeah. So here we go. So the sun had not yet come up on the morning of September 7th, 1883. So this is way before Cuba.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
25-year-old New Yorker got off the Northern Pacific train at the frontier town of Little, Missouri, located on the west bank of the Little Missouri River in what is now western North Dakota. The young man was Theodore Roosevelt, who had graduated from Harvard 3 years earlier, and he had come west to hunt buffalo. Now, you might think, okay, this is kind of a privileged young man, and he was sort of. But
he was sort of.
Yeah, he really was. But anyway, he was born with some health issues.
Teddy was?
Asthma.
Really?
Not very healthy, but he really fought through that to become quite a rough rider, really.
Okay.
So, anyway, young Roosevelt found a room in the Pyramid Hotel, freshened up, and then slept a few hours before looking over the town that had sprung up about a year earlier. Just before a small nearby military post was abandoned, the small post known as the Badlands Cantonment with about 50 soldiers, so just a small kind of fort there. And that had been established in 1879 to protect the railroad workers at that time from the Indians.
I see.
Well, Roosevelt inspected the newer settlement of Medora on the east bank of the Little Missouri River.
I've been there.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
New buildings were being constructed. He found a kind of an air of business and excitement in Medora because it was kind of growing. But he found no town government and no law and order. Cattle and horse rustling and theft were just rampant because the criminal class outnumbered those that were honest and wanted order.
That makes for a bad deal.
Not good. Anyway, Roosevelt's reaction to these conditions is not known, but the next day he hired a guy by the name of Joe Ferris as a guide, and he rode south of Little Missouri to hunt buffalo in the Badlands.
Really?
You know, he was a big hunter.
He loved that.
He loved the hunting.
Yeah.
So for more than a week, Roosevelt and Joe Ferris and his brother Sylvain, along with a guy named William Merrifield, rode in search of buffalo among the buttes and the mesas and the washes and the mountains out through that area. You've driven through there. It's big country.
Yeah, it is.
And
a lot of good cattle country.
Yeah, and a lot of valleys that have been carved by the Little Missouri River.
Right.
Anyway, it rained every day.
No,
does that surprise you?
That's ugly.
Yeah. I've hunted in the rain and the snow, and it's not fun. But anyway, he chased one old buffalo bull but missed hitting the animal when he fired his weapon at it while riding over rough terrain. So he was riding his horse trying to shoot this buffalo.
So old Teddy really kind of walked the walk and talked the talk, didn't he?
He did,
yeah.
So anyway, his eyesight was not that good.
He was almost blind, wasn't he?
Every movie or every picture you see, he's wearing glasses.
The wire rim glasses.
Yeah. In fact, in that movie that I watched, somehow a pair of glasses got knocked off of him, and he pulled off his hat, and he had two more pair in his hat.
Really?
so he had some spares that he carried in his.
Oh, that sounds like me here in this house.
In his hat.
I got glasses all over.
Anyway, 3 days later, Roosevelt spotted another big old bull, and he killed it. So the young and unknown New Yorker spent nights in the ranch house of a guy named Gregor Lang, who had arrived months earlier from Scotland to manage a ranch for a guy by the name of Sir John Pender. Now, Roosevelt and Lang talked a lot about the prospects for cattle raising in the Badlands, and before his hunt ended, Roosevelt decided to become a cattle raiser.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, this is long before political aspirations.
Well, yeah. He was only 25 at this time. So he wanted to hire Lang and his son Lincoln to manage his cattle.
Where did he get all of his money?
Like I say, he was kind of a privileged young man. He went to Harvard.
So Mom and Dad wrote the check.
I think there was some money there.
I see.
But he wanted to hire Lang and his son, Lincoln, to manage his cattle, but they were already committed to taking care of this Scottishman, Sir John Pender's cattle.
Sir John.
Sir John. So at Lang's suggestion, Roosevelt entered into an agreement with a guy named Merrifield and another guy named Ferris.
Never trust a guy named Merrifield.
They operated the Maltese Cross Ranch southeast of Madura. Have you heard of that?
Really? I have, yeah.
Okay. The Maltese Cross Ranch.
Yeah.
Anyway, after buying out the interests of two other men who owned the ranch, Roosevelt did not get title to much land in the deal. Okay, so aside from the ranch house, the Maltese Cross Ranch had open rangeland and owned by the government and the railroad. So Roosevelt invested about $12,000, which
that was a lot of money back then. Yeah. That was 88?
Yeah, 1889, right in there.
Right.
So, and he bought 400 cattle for the ranch. Merrifield and Ferris agreed to care for the cattle for 7 years. Now, after that, 400 cattle, or their equivalent in value, were to be returned to Roosevelt. Merrifield and Ferris would then receive half of the increase in the herd. So it was a good deal.
Yeah, it was.
For both. So anyway, Roosevelt was kind of invigorated by his Western trip, pleased with his new endeavor, and he returned to the East, where he was actually, this is when he started, in 1883, he was elected to the New York State Assembly. Okay, so this is the beginning of his ranching and his political career. I see. So in 1884, he suffered a personal tragedy. On a February night, both Roosevelt's mother and his wife died the same night.
Oh, my.
And this really, he was devastated.
His mother and his wife.
Yeah, and during the weeks that followed, he really kind of thought of the West as an escape from his sorrows, and he decided that if his cattle wintered well in the Little Missouri River Badlands, he would start another ranch in that region. So that was kind of took over his thoughts, trying to forget about I don't know about forget about, but, with his wife and mom. Anyway, after attending the Republican National Convention in Chicago as a delegate, Roosevelt took a train west to Medora in June. Now we're 1884. another year.
Okay.
Medora and Little Missouri had grown during the 8 months that Roosevelt had been in the East. Both towns now had 84 buildings, including 3 hotels. Medora, the largest, had more than 200 residents. I don't know how it is now, Zeb, if it's very big.
It's turned into quite a tourist town.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of the growth was due to the creation of a packing plant and other businesses established by a guy called the Marquis de Moors. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you are well aware, Zeb, that means that he was a Frenchman.
Yeah, and he had a lot of money.
And he had a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he had actually founded Medora, this Frenchman had, in 1883.
Really?
Yeah. And he named the town after his wife, Medora. So that's how that name came to be. It's a French name.
What did she look like?
I don't know.
Oh.
I have no pictures.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, he purchased land at the junction of the Little Missouri River and the Northern Pacific Railroad to establish the town of Medora. And there he built a packing house and organized the Northern Pacific Refrigerator Car Company.
Really?
So he began shipping dressed meat east by refrigerator car.
Was he the first?
I don't know, but, 1882, 1883 had to be among the first to ever have a refrigerated
How'd
train car.
they keep it cool?
I don't know what they
You're
used.
supposed to know all this stuff.
Okay, I'm going to guess that they had ice. That's the only thing I can think of. They probably had ice inside the train cars, wouldn't you think?
Okay, but where did they get the ice to transport it, to put it in the train cars, especially in the
from
summer?
Florida. They went up in the mountains, and cut ice out of the rivers. I guess.
Why is your face red?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, some writers have kind of hinted that Roosevelt's relationship with the Marquis de Moors was not real friendly, but they weren't necessarily enemies either.
They put up with each other.
Anyway, so on his second trip to Medora in 1884, Roosevelt went to his Maltese Cross Ranch, located southwest of Medora, to plan an expansion of his ranching operations.
I see.
Now, in a letter to his sister Anna, Roosevelt related that he lost about 25 head of cattle from wolves and cold weather the previous winter, but the rest of his cattle had done well. And he wrote that he planned to buy, quote, 1,000 more cattle and make ranching his regular business.
Wow.
So he really didn't have, I don't think, political intentions at that particular time. He wanted to be a rancher.
Yeah.
So anyway, he soon established a second ranch, which he named Elkhorn. Have you heard of that one?
No, I have not.
Okay, so I'm guessing he says it's on government land about 25 miles north of Medora. Well, by late summer, he sent Ferris and Merrifield, his ranch foreman, to Iowa to purchase 1,000 head of cattle. Meanwhile, he persuaded 2 former Maine guides, a guy by the name of Dow and Sewell, to become foreman of his Elkhorn ranch. So now I had 2 guys at the Maltese Cross and 2 guys for the Elkhorn to run the ranch.
Okay.
Foreman. So within a year, he constructed what was described as the finest ranch house in the Badlands, which he called his home ranch house. And there he spent a lot of time when he was in the Badlands. That's where he basically kind of lived. So early in 1884, several ranchers in the Badlands thought it was time to establish a stockman's organization to enforce rules of the open range. Because, here we have a lot of cattlemen and certain range was designated for certain men, and so they wanted to organize that.
Right.
So it was a good thing.
Yep.
So a committee of ranchers decided to draw up bylaws for such an organization, but the matter kind of lagged until Roosevelt returned to the Badlands in 1884, and when he learned what had occurred, he called a meeting of the stockmen at Medora, and this was in December, so late December 1884, so wintertime. But the representatives from 11 cattle ranches attended the meeting and elected Roosevelt chairman of what became known as the Little Missouri River Stockmen's Association. Have you heard of that one?
No.
And I don't suppose it lasted. That's why, we probably don't know much about it. But they drew up resolutions and rules for a permanent organization. The minutes of that meeting were written by Roosevelt, and he was given the job of writing the Constitution and bylaws for this cattlemen's organization.
Where did Roosevelt get his education, by the way?
Harvard.
Harvard.
Yeah, he was a Harvard graduate.
So he was an Ivy Leaguer.
Oh, yeah. So he was well educated, But I look at him as more of a rough and tough than people maybe give him
Was he a big
credit.
guy?
I don't know. I mean, if the movie is correct, he was just average height.
Yeah.
He wasn't big, he wasn't small, but he always wore those glasses, which made him look just a little bit
weird,
funny, But anyway, so he wrote up these bylaws. He did so, and after returning to the East, he had the bylaws of the Little Missouri River Stockmen's Association printed in a small 6-page booklet, and there is actually one copy left of that, and it's in the library at Harvard.
One?
There were 6 copies, and only one survives.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I would love to
get a hold of that.
Look at that,
yeah.
So anyway, when Roosevelt returned from the East to the Badlands in the spring of 1885, so now we're about 2 years into this,
right.
He took part in the cattle roundup on the open range, and that takes a kind of a tough guy to be able to do that. You've ridden out there.
Lots.
But because most ranchers were squatters, owned little land, it was necessary to round up all cattle twice a year to separate them according to their brands.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the spring roundup in which Roosevelt participated saw the branding of calves and yearlings that had escaped, branding the previous spring, while during the fall roundup, ranchers selected cattle to be driven to market. And during the spring roundup in 1885, Roosevelt apparently added more cattle to his herds. So he was expanding and growing.
Yeah, it was the railroad through there also.
Yeah, and that was the big thing. That's why that Marcus guy, had
the guy from France.
The guy, guy had the refrigerated train cars.
Right.
So anyway, Roosevelt added more, and actually in a newspaper article, here's what they said about him. This was called The Badlands Cowboy by a reporter newspaper. It said, 1,500 head of steers, yearlings, and twos came in Thursday morning for the Elkhorn and Chimney Butte Maltese Cross ranches of Theodore Roosevelt. They were in fair condition after their long ride, and except for the disadvantage of a large number being yearlings, gave every evidence of growing into good beef. The larger majority are steers. A good lot of short-horn bulls and 1 polled Angus were in the herd. 1,000 of these cattle will be driven to the Elkhorn Ranch, and 500 to the already well-stocked Chimney Butte Maltese Cross Ranch. So that was an article, a newspaper article.
I'm curious, and I know I'm taking your time, I apologize, but when they loaded their cattle on the rail from there and shipped back east, did they go all the way without unloading, or were they stopping at various pens for food and water? I mean, what was the deal here?
I don't have any idea. In fact,
that's something I'd like to check on.
And in fact, maybe they drove them. Just a herd. I don't know. Or at least partway, maybe.
I don't know.
To a railroad. Anyway. So now we're 1885. Roosevelt was reelected chair of the Little Missouri Stockmen's Association. He spent the winter of 1885 and 86 in New York City. When he returned to the Badlands in March 1886, he found cattle losses had been light during what had been a rather mild winter, when that was good. His cattle ranching appears to have reached its peak by early 1886 for a total investment of about $82,000 that he'd invested in all this.
Really?
So Roosevelt and his foreman owned between 3,000 and 5,000 cattle, which is better than average for a cattle rancher in that region. Now, the year 1886 saw Roosevelt elected president of the Little Missouri Stockmen's Association, and he again participated in the spring roundup. Now, in a letter to his sister, he wrote this. He wrote, I have been on the roundup for a fortnight and really enjoyed the work greatly. In fact, I am passing a most pleasant summer, though I miss all of you very much. We breakfast at 3 every morning and work from 16 to 18 hours a day, counting night guard, so I get pretty sleepy, but I feel strong as a bear.
Wow.
So again, those that think that maybe he wasn't that strong, he was.
Why did he wear that goofy-looking hat with the brim rolled up on one side?
I don't know. See, you ask me all these questions. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think there's an answer. He liked it. So we're almost done here anyway.
I'm sorry.
So now we're during the summer of 1886, Roosevelt and his foreman, Sewell and Dow, caught 3 men who had stolen a boat from the Elkhorn Ranch. Now, unable to take the prisoners to the sheriff at Dickinson because of ice jams on the Little Missouri River, Roosevelt and his foreman remained in camp until they obtained a wagon, and the 3 men were then turned over to the sheriff, and the men were tried and 2 were sent to prison. So, just
Really?
normal day-to-day stuff.
He was a young man yet, though,
Still
wasn't
only
he?
about 27 now.
27,
maybe
28, yeah.
Anyway, he returned to New York City late in the summer of 1886 to receive the Republican nomination for mayor of New York City.
Wow.
When the election was held in November, he lost, actually. The following month, he married a gal by the name of Edith Crowe in England and went to Europe for a long winter honeymoon. But it was there he received reports that most of his cattle had died during a hard winter on the northern plains.
Ooh.
Roosevelt returned to the United States and went straight to Medora. And a friend of his said, "Well, we've had a perfect smash up all through the cattle country of the Northwest. The losses are crippling. For the first time, I have been utterly unable to enjoy a visit to my ranch. I shall be glad to get home." So it ended badly.
Kind of broke him up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so a member of the Little Missouri Stockman Association agreed not to hold the general spring roundup because they believed most of their cattle had drifted in with the storm. There wasn't anything to round up.
Wow.
So the ranchers who searched for their cattle during the summer found only carcasses. Later, a report said that 75% of the cattle had been lost.
Ooh.
I mean, if you know, 5
what
to
was
6,000.
that like in the springtime? My goodness,
Yeah.
what a mess.
Yeah, so it had been a bad winter for the cattlemen,
Yeah.
not only in North Dakota, but elsewhere on the plains. That was
Really?
a bad year.
Wow.
Anyway, his losses were so great that he decided to get out of the cattle ranching. And at some point between 1890 and 1892, Roosevelt abandoned his Elkhorn Ranch and shifted his activities to the Maltese Cross Ranch in an effort to recoup his losses. Anyways, it was tough going. But anyway, Roosevelt made visits to the Badlands in 1892, 93, 96. But his political activities in the East made it difficult for him to travel west and give attention to his ranching. So when President McKinley appointed him Assistant Secretary of the Navy in 1897.
Yeah, he's probably about close to 40 now. isn't
Yeah, he's getting pretty old.
Yeah.
So he decided to sell out his ranching interests.
Yeah.
And earlier that year, when the United States went to war with Spain, Roosevelt made a name for himself with his Rough Riders in Cuba. He sold his cattle interest. In all, Roosevelt invested more than $82,000 in his ranches and lost about $50,000.
Really?
But financially, I think he was still pretty well off.
Pretty well off.
Yeah. But so the 19th century ended. The days of the open range in the Little Missouri ended, and most of the large cattle ranches went out of business. Meanwhile, in the East, Roosevelt's fame with the Rough Riders in Cuba saw him nominated as the vice presidential running mate with McKinley, who won.
Yeah.
And Roosevelt's life changed dramatically in 1901 when McKinley was shot and killed. And 8 days later, when McKinley died, now here he is, 42 years old, Roosevelt became the 26th president of the United States. And today is remembered as one of the strongest and most vigorous presidents in the nation's history. And so here's a guy that really started out, like I say, not very healthy, kind of a weakling, kind of sickly, but he worked his way through it. And you know, if you get a chance, folks, to watch that movie, the Rough Riders.
Rough Riders.
I really enjoyed it.
You know, that was a good report. Why don't you do a study of the Battle of San Juan Hill? And,
I had some more information on that, but we don't have time for that.
Yeah, I'm out of it today. Yeah.
We may have to do that.
Now, you've got to literally run. Yeah,
yes.
You've got to run. And I want to say thank you very much. Now, are you going to dress the same next week, or are you going to be much more relaxed?
I will probably be relaxed.
Okay. Hey, by the way, I got at least another 3 weeks to tell you Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you, and every week we will do that.
All right, buddy.
Merry Christmas.
Dr. Ken Turner, better known as Dr. History, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Always a pleasure. I want to see the bottom of your shoes going out the door. See you later, buddy. And he's headed out the highway right now. He's got to get on the go. So we say thank you very much to him. By the way, before I send it back over to the main studios, don't forget Sportsman's Warehouse. Well, old buddy Reese and the staff, what a great place to go Christmas shopping. They've got everything over there at Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls. Falls at 1940 Bridgeview in Twin. What a store, and they've got something for everybody on your list. Absolutely. Whether it's hunting gear or archery or fishing or boating or electronics or knives, oh my goodness, all the clothing, it's all there. And you know what I like about Sportsman's Warehouse? They've got the experts working in every department to answer your questions. Merry Christmas from Sportsman's Warehouse at 1940 Bridgeview in Twin Falls. You stop in and see them today. Right now, Wheels, take it away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you much, and don't forget Merry Christmas wishes from Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke, a rancher up in the Oakley area that understands the land and the folks that live here in the great state of Idaho. And on behalf of his family and himself, he wishes all of you, his constituents, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Speaker Scott Bedke. Also, Representative Fred Wood, a man that really cares about Idaho and trying to take care and solve the problems here in the state of Idaho and enjoys serving you. Representative Fred Wood from Burley also wants to extend a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I always enjoy having these folks on my program with the Pacific Legal Foundation, and we have Damian Schiff, and he's going to tell us all about the Endangered Species Act and the bureaucrats that like to play a lot of games and cost us a lot of money. Good morning, Damian. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. What's going on with the Endangered Species Act, and how does it affect and cost me and you a lot of money out of our billfold?
Well, as I'm sure most of your, or all of your listeners, Eb, are aware, the Endangered Species Act is a law that too often has been misused to violate the property rights and other liberties of individuals throughout this country in the name of environmental protection. And one problem that we have had consistently that we're now really trying to focus to remedy is how the Fish and Wildlife Service, which administers the law, how it goes about deciding which populations of animals and plants to protect. Now, the statute says that the service has the authority, among other things, to protect, quote, species and subspecies. But the statute does not define what those terms mean. And the service has never promulgated a regulation or a policy or any guidance document to explain what those terms mean. And so as a consequence, we have the agency saying in its discretion that effectively any population, no matter how small or how insignificant, is potentially subject to designation as a species or subspecies that can be protected. And the problem that we have is that it's a matter of common sense. The smaller you define any population, the more likely you are to get the result that it's endangered of extinction. So if you can define a population at any level or any size or specificity you want, you have now reserved to yourself the arbitrary power to protect whatever you want. And the flip side is that if you are a landowner who then has endangered species or habitat on your property, not only are you significantly limited then in what you can do with your property, but relatedly, the value of your property is substantially reduced, and typically you get no compensation for that reduction. So it's important to define these terms, and we have just submitted a petition to the federal government last month on behalf of a coalition of property rights organizations asking the feds to finally define these terms, species and subspecies, in a way that's scientifically defensible, but also that's clear and public and consistent, so that we won't have any more arbitrary decision-making, arbitrary line drawing.
You know, let me ask you this, Damian. You open up a real Pandora's box of questions. And again, I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but it seems like it's easy for some bureaucrat or some group to say, oh my goodness, you see that angleworm over there? Well, that's an endangered species. who oversees the bureaucrats and who oversees these certain groups to make sure that what they're doing and telling is the truth?
Unfortunately, there hasn't been a whole lot of oversight. The Fish and Wildlife Service, the Department of Interior, those are the agencies that are mainly responsible for the Endangered Species Act. But as I mentioned before, there hasn't been any oversight, there hasn't been any regulation, any guidance document, anything public to say how to guide this process, how to say, okay, well, this population truly is its own separate species or subspecies. And the matter is made worse by the fact that outside groups can petition the government to list any species or any population it wants, or these groups want, and then that gives the government the opportunity to, again, protect populations that have negative economic impacts on landowners throughout the country. And unfortunately, the courts too often defer when these decisions are challenged, too often defer to how the government resolves the controversy. And so the upshot is that there hasn't been a whole lot of oversight, and that just underscores again why it is so important that these agencies bind themselves according to clear definitions that are public and that they themselves will have to follow in their own decision-making.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you this, and maybe I'm stepping out of bounds here, but about 4 or 5 years ago in the state of California, the environmentalists all of a sudden started jumping up and down and screaming, oh, we've got to save the New Delhi fly. It was a fly that they said was a special savable fly, and all the people that were running their garbage and everything, they were told they couldn't do it. It turned everything into a mess trying to save a fly? How do you count the numbers and come up with regulatory numbers on a fly?
You know, Zeb, that's a great example. It's really a sad example because the Delhi Sands flower-loving fly, as they called it, was found in a part of Southern California that was economically somewhat depressed, and it was in the precise area where the local government was planning on building a hospital. And the presence of that fly significantly delayed the production of this important medical facility. And that is an economic cost that's just one species. When you consider that there are close to, I think, 2,000 endangered and threatened species that have been protected by the federal government, just multiply that economic impact across the country and you see that it is significant. And unfortunately, the way the statute is currently written, the government is not supposed to take into account economic impacts when deciding whether or not to protect a population. That's an unfortunate defect in the law that Congress should try and remedy.
Well, I guess what I'm asking, Damien, and please, I'm not trying to exacerbate the problem or put a lot of emphasis on just one highlight of our speech here this morning, but when you say to these people, oh, well, my goodness, this fly is endangered, why there's only so many, and you say this bird is endangered, why there's only so many, who is responsible for creating and providing bona fide proof that it really is an endangered species?
That depends, Zeb. It depends upon how the process gets started. I mean, if it's an outside environmental group that is petitioning, then typically that group will put together its own science, and then the Fish and Wildlife Service is supposed to do an independent assessment and supposed to collect its own data and supposed to have independent peer review to double-check to make sure that the science is in fact accurate. However, we have often seen that process breaks down. And instead of having independent and fair review, what you really have is a biased review, whereby, say, the peer reviewers who are selected to review the science, they have an interest in the issue because these are species on which they have built their career. Having them protected increases the visibility of the species, increases the likelihood of grants and other benefits of employment for a scientist, and so there is a biased and a self-interested aspect to the vetting of the science that unfortunately too often results in very bad decision-making. Mm-hmm. And that is a problem with the statute that Congress over the last several years has tried through various bills to remedy. So far, none has actually passed. but it is a persistent controversy, and unfortunately there's no great answer to your question, because right now there aren't really good checks to prevent the abuse of the act.
I have seen personally some of my friends in California suffer and almost lose the entirety of their farm or ranch operation because of the so-called Endangered Species Act and the absolute Gestapo tactics of the government and environmental groups coming in and literally destroying people's lives. This has got to stop.
And I think, Zeb, the one way to start the reform is, as we've been talking about, at least requiring the agencies to follow clear rules. Because even if the rules aren't so great, as long as they're clear and as long as they're public, at least you have some standard by which you can call out the agency in court or in the court of public opinion. Right now, though, as we were talking about with just the basic definitions of species and subspecies, there aren't even those definitions made public. There aren't even those standards by which everyone knows how will these decisions be made. So that's the first step. The second step is to make sure that there are clear safeguards into how data is collected, how data is used, and those types of reforms can in part be taken by the agency, but ultimately a lot of this is going to have to be given to Congress to fix because it's traceable the defects in the statute that need to be remedied.
What about, and I'm going to be very vague on some of the describing of what happened here, but I know the family that was in California and the farmer was out disking his field and inadvertently and accidentally ran over an endangered species rat. How did they find out about it, they being bureaucracy, and how did they go about pursuing a crime against this man for just tilling his soil and trying to run his farm?
Yeah, that is a controversy concerned a farmer, I think it was about 20 years or so ago in Southern California.
Yeah.
And the farmer tried to defend himself on the ground that there was no body, so to speak, that the only thing that had been alleged was that he had injured or killed an endangered kangaroo rat.
Right.
But there was no evidence that any rat had been harmed. I think the problem was that the government thought that he was farming in habitat where the rat was likely to be found. Ultimately, I don't believe that the case went to judgment, but I think it required a significant amount of time and effort on the farmer's part to defend himself. And it's that sort of abusive litigation that is really to be criticized, because most individual property owners don't have the finances or the wherewithal or the time to be able to defend themselves if, in fact, they're sued either by the federal government or by an environmental group claiming that they have harmed endangered species or their habitat. And so that's another reason why at Pacific Legal Foundation, for example, why we represent our clients and we petition the government for free. Our job is to try and level the playing field a little bit so that property owners do have a resource they can rely upon when the whole federal government's litigation arm is brought against them for an alleged endangered species or any other environmental violation.
You know, Damien, you can't blame property owners, ranchers, farmers, etc. today to honestly use the 3 S's of defense: shoot, shovel, and shut up. Most of those are applicable to just basically don't say anything and cover up anything if it causes you a problem, because the government's going to come in with their bureaucracy and they're literally going to financially crucify you.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because that phenomenon has been used as a reason why the Endangered Species Act needs to be reformed, because it creates a perverse incentive. Landowners don't have any real reason to want to cooperate with the federal government.
That's
because
right.
If they do have species or habitat on their property, they're going to have a significant loss in value. And so the Act ultimately needs to be reformed so that people have reasons to cooperate rather than to frustrate the recovery goals of the statute.
Well, now, if this happens on your property or you're accused of having something happen to an endangered species on your property, would you suggest that people automatically just run to the phone and call the Pacific Legal Foundation? I have the highest regard and respect for what you folks have done, and I'm sure you're going to continue this in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, we are always looking for new cases to bring. We bring lawsuits in every part of the country, in state and federal court, and we're particularly interested in endangered species cases. So if any of your listeners ever have an endangered species issue or question, feel free to contact us through our website, pacificlegal.org, or through other means. But we're here definitely to help out property owners to achieve not just a reasonable balance in environmental regulation, but ultimately to ensure that their constitutionally protected property rights are protected, and to provide, as I mentioned earlier, some defense against what too often is an overbearing enforcement from the federal government or from environmental groups.
You know, one final thought here, Damien, and you've always been a straight shooter on this program in the past, and a short answer on this, but really, the definition of private property rights, it's kind of been eroded and discarded and thrown in the trash, hasn't it?
Zeb, no doubt, our sense as a culture of property rights has been depreciated over the last several decades. But that's no reason why we can't go back to our founders and their view that without private property rights, freedom is absolutely under threat. And so if we can protect property rights, not just through politics, but especially through the courts, which is what Pacific Legal focuses on, then I think we have a chance to turn things around and to restore a good culture of private property rights in our country.
I agree. Damien Schiff, senior attorney with the Pacific Legal Foundation, thank you very much for being on the program this morning, and our office to yours. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb. Likewise.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. You know, the erosion of our private property rights in this country, what we can do, what we can't do according to them, and the protection of certain species over and above human beings, ridiculous. And I'm really, really appreciative of what they're doing with the Pacific Legal Foundation. And thank you, Damien Schiff. I appreciate that. Oh, we got to get a weather forecast on here. And the weather this hour is brought to you by my buddy Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Delicious. That sums it up. I'm looking at the list here of all the different meats in their retail meat department, and I stop right dead cold, right on the marinated prime rib. If you've never had a marinated prime rib from Scarrow's Meats, you are missing a delectable treat, along with the smoked hams and the smoked turkeys and all the breakfast bacons and the bratwurst. The list goes on. It is absolutely delicious. Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you were asking for some sunshine, well, you definitely have it for this week. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like sunny skies for today. A little bit on the breezy side, winds out of the west 5 to 8 miles an hour. High of 35 is what we're looking at. Tonight, mostly clear with a low right near 15. For tomorrow, sunny skies with a high of 35. Overnight low of 15 for tomorrow night. Thursday, sunny and 38. Pretty much the same for Friday, sunny with a high of 38. And for Saturday, sunny near 40. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much. Retail meat department is fantabulous over at Scarrow's Meats. And with Christmas right around the corner, they've got it all for you. Like I said, smoked turkeys and marinated prime rib. Oh, smoked hams. It's all there. Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Delicious. Oh, my goodness sakes. Let's see what else have I got. Oh, I got some Christmas wishes to get in here real quick. Merry Merry Christmas from Senator Kelly Anthon, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and Representative Fred Wood. They all wish their constituents a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and they are working hard for the betterment of all that they do at the State House during the legislative session. Thank you very much, Senator Kelly Anthon, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and Representative Fred Wood. Merry, Merry Christmas. Along with the Burley Area Merchants Association. Oh my goodness, don't forget that you got to go find Bella the Elf in 25 area stores. That's right. You put your name in the box for the store's weekly drawing, and all entries will be gathered to be drawn for $100 worth of cash coupons for shopping and additional prizes drawn thanks to the Burley Area Merchants Association. Bama, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Really nice people. Glad to have them on our program. What have we got cooking for tomorrow on the show? We've got Dave Bigo, and we've got Dan Perkins coming back. Dan is a terror expert, and he's also a world affairs expert, but he has also written an outstanding book called Why Can't Grammy Remember Me? It's about people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and I'm going to bring that up to him tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Excellent book. Would be a great Christmas present for family members. And we also have another story from the Pacific Legal Foundation. Looking forward to that. So we've got a full plate tomorrow. Excuse me, on Zeb at the Ranch as I choke to death. Christmas time. Enjoy every minute of it. Milk it to the extreme. Just have a great time. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh my, all 7 locations. They are good. But you know what? Look outside. See the sunshine? Mm-hmm. You're going to be lulled into a false sense of security because winter driving, nasty winter driving is right around the corner, and they've got all the tires, all the different tread designs, everything waiting for your cars, pickups, SUVs. You stop in and check it out today. And they've got all the tire chains, and the best in brake service and front end alignments and shocks and struts, and batteries. You got to have a good battery with these cold winter mornings. So stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Whew. Been an interesting morning, a fun morning. Don't forget, next Thursday, we're going to be over at Denny's for the annual Christmas party on December 14th, Thursday from 8 to 11, broadcasting live and direct. Door prizes, Santa Claus. Register for that Lee's Furniture and More recliner. It's beautiful. And don't forget, we're going to have choirs, all kinds of singing at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, next week on Thursday from 8 to 11. Going to be a lot of fun on Zeb at the Ranch. Let's see, what else did I have? I think that's going to wrap it up and put it back in the box for today. I just had one other Christmas note, real quick, public service announcement that I wanted to share with you, and it's the 2nd annual Mickey Claus Day for children, December 16th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 323 First Street in Rupert, and $5 admission includes a gift, free photos, and for more questions, don't forget, call 436-0987. The proceeds of this Mickey Claus Day go to the Minnecasia Shelter Incorporated Advocates Against Violence. So everybody try to be there. Well, Wheels, thank you. Good job, buddy. We're going to wrap it up and put it back in the box and say tomorrow morning we'll ride the horse again for 3 hours from 8 to 11 right here on Zeb at the Ranch, beaming live out of K-Bar 1230 and streaming live on ZebBell.com. And remember the passwords. The way things were are the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning.